Hi there people, it's Uberman UK. Now this is the third part of the video, how to become an Uber driver. Now this is mostly focused on London, because London have a strange rule, and it's quite a controversial rule as well. What it is, it's the English language requirements. Now it's an English test basically, a language test. All they're doing is trying to work out if you can speak perfect English. Now, I'll be honest, it is quite a radical test this. Now hopefully if you are born in the UK and if you've studied some kind of course in the UK for school, college, university, you'll have no problem whatsoever. So if you went to high school in this country and you got a GCSE from A to G, you could submit that into London and that is acceptable. You would have to do one of these language tests. Or if you went to college and you got an MVQ, that is acceptable. It's basically they want to know that you can speak good English and understand English. So if you went to a state school or a college or a university in this country and you got a certificate for this, that would be acceptable. Now if you're like me, I did my GCSE years ago, so I haven't got my certificate. It's been destroyed or long gone years ago. Now I only got F's and G's, to be honest with you people, because I'm not very clever, but that would be still a pass with London. Now you still get these certificates back by going to the website, to a website, and they will trace it and send the information back to you. Now if you go on to London, you go onto the London site and just click on lost documents and they will forward the information on to you. Now as ever, they're going to charge you another fee on top of that. Now if you haven't got any of these GCSEs or you've not studied in this country for any topic, you would have to do a basic English test, a language test. Now what do you actually do? Right, this is the details of the test, okay? So the reading and writing test, what it actually is. Well, you'll be answering questions on information on short text. Now that's what they tell me. So what it actually is, you'll be reading a piece of paper, a statement out loud to examiner. So it could be a story, it could be a bit of information about any topic. You've got to read it all to the examiner and get it word for word perfectly. Also they give like statements, like you say, one day I took the dog to the, and you've got to fill in the blanks. It's like being at kindergarten at school. So they're going to do sentences, miss out blanks, and you've got to put in the word you think it is. Now, it is quite easy, to be honest with you. Now, if you speak English as your first language and understand it perfect, you wouldn't really have a problem with this. Also, you have to write a short letter or a story containing between 100 and 150 words. That is the reading and writing test. Speaking and listening test. Well, you have to do it, people. If you want to be an Uber driver, you have to actually do it. So you're going to answer questions on familiar topics of your home and workplace. So they're going to ask you questions like, let's just say like I'm a bus driver, okay? I used to be a bus driver, which I miss terribly. And they could say, right, you pick a passenger up at London and he says to you a silly question like, think of a question. Could you tell me how to get to McDonald's? Could you tell me how to get to Burger King? See, I like to take away if you figure that out. And you have to give appropriate answer. Questions like that, or questions in your home, like, could you tell me what your garden looks like? Could you tell me what your house looks like? And you've got to explain it in the best details you've got. You don't have to be perfect details. Basically, you have to understand what you're actually saying. And you also listen to a recording, like a tape or a DVD player. And it's a short conversation. And at the end of that, they'll be asking you questions. at the end of the trip. And also, you have to do a short conversation with the examiner, so he could say to you, no word of a lie, these are actual questions. He could say to you, right, could you have a conversation about the Queen, please? So you've got to talk about the Queen. Could we have a conversation about Big Ben? So you have to tell information about Big Ben and what it is, or just start a conversation like you're in the pub. And could you talk about fish and chips? It might sound daft, but these are the questions they want to ask you. The test is usually 1 hour, and it ranges between £200, believe it or not. £200 for this test, eh? So if you've got some certificates, what you have studied in this country, send it to London Council, and you could avoid this test. Because you don't want to pay an extra £200 for this silly test. Now, I'll be honest with you, people. I think it's ridiculous. I know Uber tried to stop this from happening because they said it's racist. Which it is, because they're targeting people who are not born from this country, who don't speak English as their first language. Now, in a way, I can understand what they're saying. They're saying we have to read basic road signs. Well, of course we can read road signs. And we have basic conversation with our passengers. Now, if you know what passengers are like, they do like a yap sometimes. So they like to speak in English so they can understand what you're saying. But if that's what we got to do, that's what we got to do. This only applies in London. It doesn't apply anywhere else. They do have little tests in other councils, like basic tests, but it's nothing like this. A basic test is simple adding up and simple writing skills, but nothing with details like this. I hope it helps you. Let's get this out of the way and we'll move to the next topic.